Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my 3DS retrospective for 2019. I think last year we thought the 3DS was done with the Switch really picking up steam and becoming a replacement for it. But, we still had a couple good releases this year. I think 4 games total. The only one I picked up is this one here, which we'll get to in a minute. Although I may want to pick up the first one we're going to talk about. It's a re-release of another game, so I didn't need it right away, but I should probably get that before it disappears. So if you've got a 3DS, you've probably known since last year that things are slowing down. It's time to move to a Switch if you can afford it. If you can't, though, a lot of great games in the backlog. Go back and check out my other retrospectives where I talk about all of the kind of exclusives for the 3DS that are worth checking out, worth knowing about. There's a lot of great stuff still to explore on that system. And if you have switched to a Switch, check out my Switch retrospectives, which is a ton of exclusives worth checking out. So yeah, check that out. So let's get right into the games. The first game of the year is Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser Jr.'s Journey. This is a remake of the DS action RPG, which many fans consider to be the best in the series. Like the previous Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga remake, the graphics have been updated to 3D instead of the original sprite work. And because of that, it ends up looking a lot more like the series' spiritual predecessor, Super Mario RPG. The new side story mode, Bowser Jr.'s Journey, has Bowser's son set out on his own to find a cure for Bowser's sickness. It features all the witty, hilarious writing that the series is known for, and has a different style of gameplay. That's a series of light strategy battles where the player arranges their minions on a 3x5 grid. There are 3 types of minions with different strengths and weaknesses, who clash against a wave of enemies in each battle. From the recent news about the developer Alpha Dream, though, it seems like the future of the series is up in the air now, which is a shame because it was my favorite presentation of the Mario characters, featuring great stories in that franchise. Then in February, we got some more Nintendo Selects. I haven't covered these in previous episodes, but it's worth noting. These are re-releases of games that sold really well and are now in red cases instead of the standard white ones. This was the Star Fox 64 remake, Mario Maker 3DS, and the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask update. Also in February, we got Etrian Odyssey Nexus. This is a 3DS send-off for the cult series that kind of defined the last couple years of this console's life. Designed as a penultimate Etrian Odyssey experience for both hardcore fans and newcomers to the series, this offers more content, gameplay systems, and customizations than ever before. The game features 19 character classes, 14 dungeons, 4 difficulty levels that you can change on the fly, and a completely new standalone story. If you've ever wanted to check out an Etrian Odyssey game, this is the one if you're into first-person dungeon crawling games where you have to make your own map, or you just want to see this series that's really thrived on the 3DS and become a real cult favorite. Check it out.
Now let's see what's next.
Then Yokai Watch 3, which has been out in Japan for a while, but yeah, we finally got kind of a 2-in-1 over here. Because its North American release includes both versions of the Japanese game. So like Pokemon that has its 2 different colored versions every time, this was the same way, but this is them mashed together. This version of the ghost catching battling RPG includes all the yokai, which is over 600, 2 playable characters, Nate and Haley, and you can swap between them at any time. The game takes place in the land of BBQ, the series' take on America, filled with American stereotypes, cliches, and yokai. The game features a new 3x3 grid-based battle system where you arrange your yokais for battles. There's a ton of extra mini-games, and you can connect your games to Yokai Watch 2 or the Yokai Watch Blasters versions to earn in-game rewards. Next up is Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, a port of the stylish Wii puzzle platformer starring Kirby. There's a number of new additions here to the game, including the Devilish mode, which is basically a hard mode for people who complained about how easy the original release was, and it was really easy. This mode features a life bar instead of the respawn system, and it has 3 new aggressive devil enemies that will come after you. The new Ravel ability also allows you to generate any of the 6 power-ups whenever needed, which kind of offsets that difficulty. That makes puzzles and combat much more easier. And it wouldn't be a Kirby game without some added minigames. So new to this release are DDD's Go Go Go, an auto-runner speedrun-like mode, and Slash and Bead, where you play Meta Knight who has to cut his way through auto-scrolling levels collecting beads. The last physical release for the year, and maybe the last game the 3DS has to date physically, is Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth. If you didn't get enough Etrian Odyssey from Nexus, or you're like me and you just love the Shin Megami Tensei series more, Persona Q2 has got you covered. The game takes the formula from the first title and introduces the characters from Persona 5, as well as the female version of the protagonist from Persona 3 Portable, which a lot of fans like. The characters all end up trapped in a strange movie theater where they have to enter each film and change the ending. This leads to a ton of fun situations and settings to explore while you try to unravel the mystery of what's going on. The dungeon exploration, combat, and mapping are similar enough to the previous title, though it's a little more forgiving than that game or any Etrian Odyssey title. Overall, it's a great send-off for the 3DS. Also, just to mention, Paw Patrol on a Roll was supposed to get a physical release, but that's been shelved for now. Sounds like they were having technical issues porting the game to the 3DS. I know it's been released on everything else, so we'll have to wait to see if that ends up being the next physical release or not, and we'll have to see if anything else comes out physically for this system or if this is the end. Lastly, we didn't cover 3DS digital stuff in the earlier parts of the Retrospective series, but as the system winds down, that's getting easier to add into these main parts. And this year there's really nothing worth mentioning. I mean, Shakedown Hawaii is the only thing that's worth noting, but that's already on lots of other consoles. The rest of the stuff, which you can see here, feature a lot of exclusives, but unless there's a hidden gem in there I overlooked, it just looks like a lot of shovelware. So yeah, that's it for the 3DS this year. I mean, not a ton of stuff, but some good games. I mean, obviously, some great games for hardcore fans of those series. I think this is the end for the 3DS. You never know. I'm sure we'll see one or two titles maybe trickle out throughout the next year or two, but I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, that might wrap up this entire series for this system. So thanks for checking out my retrospectives. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
It's appreciation time! Reward Mike's hard work by subscribing. Otherwise, we might see you in the next class trial.